Today, we're going to go somewhere unexpected. We're going to one of the strangest, most beautiful, and most debated books in the entire Hebrew Bible. A book so erotic that the great Rabbi Akiva had to defend its place in the canon by declaring it the holiest of all the holy writings. A book that has made scholars, theologians, and mystics reach for metaphor and allegory for 2,000 years, because taking it at face value seems almost too extraordinary. We are going to the Song of Songs, and we are reading it with Carl Jung. So let me start with what the Song of Songs or Shir Hashirim actually is, because if you haven't read it recently or ever, you may be surprised. It's a poem or a collection of poems, 8 chapters long, and it is a love poem. 2 voices, a woman and a man, address each other across its verses with a directness, a sensuality, and a beauty that has few parallels in ancient literature. The woman speaks, "Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for your love is better than wine. Draw me after you, let us run. My beloved is mine, and I am his. He grazes among the lilies." She searches for him through the city at night, asking the watchmen if they have seen him. She describes him. "His left hand is under my head, and his right hand embraces me." He describes her. "Behold, you are beautiful, my love. Your eyes are doves behind your veil. Your hair is like a flock of goats leaping down the slopes of Gilead. Your lips are like a scarlet thread, and your mouth is lovely." There is no mention of God, no commandments, no history, no prophecy, and no law. There is the beloved and the beloved, and there is desire and pursuit and longing and reunion. There is the body, described with extraordinary richness, the whole natural world pressed into service as metaphor for the human form. And this is in the Bible. This is in the canon of Hebrew scripture. Jewish and Christian tradition have generally read the Song of Songs as allegory. In the Jewish reading, it is a poem about the love between God and Israel, God as the bridegroom, Israel as the beloved. In the Christian reading, it is about the love between Christ and the church, or between the soul and God. These readings are ancient and rich, and have generated some of the most beautiful mystical writing in both traditions. But Jung approaches the Song of Songs differently. He is not dismissive of the allegorical readings, he takes them seriously. But he asks, why does the allegory work? Why does human erotic love serve as such a powerful symbol for the relationship between the human and the divine? And his answer is rooted in one of his most important and complex concepts, the hieros gamos, or the sacred marriage. For Jung, the human psyche is not unitary. It is constituted by a set of inner figures or archetypes that carry the energy of the fundamental patterns of the human experience. Among the most important of these are what he called the anima and the animus. The anima is the feminine component of the male psyche, the inner woman, so to speak, that every man carries inside himself. She is the carrier of emotion or relatedness, of the soul's connection to the deeper layers of the unconscious. She appears in dreams as a woman, perhaps beautiful, sometimes terrifying, sometimes as a guide, and sometimes a fatale. The animus is the masculine component of the female psyche, the inner man, the carrier of logos, of purposefulness, of directed will and meaning. These are not just theoretical constructs. Jung observed them in the dreams and fantasies of his patients, decade after decade. He argued that one of the central tasks of the second half of his life, the individuation process that he saw as the real work of human maturity, was to develop a conscious living relationship with the contrasexual component of one's own psyche, to bring the anima or animus into dialogue with the ego, to integrate what was other and unknown and projected. The hieros gamos, the sacred marriage, is the symbol Jung uses for this integration. It is the union within the psyche of what had been split, masculine and feminine, conscious and unconscious, ego and soul. And he found it symbolized everywhere in the world's mythological and religious traditions, in alchemical imagery, in medieval mysticism and the great love myths of antiquity, and he found it with extraordinary power in the Song of Songs. The woman's voice in the Song of Songs is remarkable, not just for its beauty, but for its agency. She's not passive, she searches, she hungers, she describes her own longing with the same directness and vividness as she described her beloved's body. She is, in the ancient world, a strikingly self possessed feminine voice, one who knows what she wants and says so. I sought him, but found him not. I will rise now and go about the city, in the streets and in the squares. I will seek him whom my soul loves. The soul loves. The Hebrew word for soul here is nephesh, the animating principle of the person. This is not merely romantic sentiment. This is the deepest self-reaching towards the other. Jung would say, this is the anima speaking from within a man's psyche, the soul reaching towards what it needs to be complete. The inner woman, long neglected or projected outward onto actual woman, finally speaking in her own voice, naming her desire and going out at night to find what she loves. But the Song of Songs is not only about what happens inside one person's psyche. It is also, and this is what makes it so extraordinary, a genuinely mutual love poem. The man's voice is also present, also ardent, also expressive. He does not simply receive the woman's longing, he has his own. Come, my beloved, let us go out into the fields. Let us lodge in the villages. Let us go out early to the vineyards. There I will give you my love. There is something here about the reciprocity that Jung saw as essential to genuine love. Not projection, not merger, not the worship of an ideal that has nothing to do with the actual person, but genuine encounter between two people, each bringing their full self to the meeting. There is a passage in the middle of the song that I find psychologically extraordinary. The woman hears her beloved knocking at the door. He says, open to me, my sister, my love, my dove, my perfect one. She hesitates. She has taken off her robe. Her feet are washed. Must she put on her robe again? She moves to open, too slowly. And when she opens the door, he is gone. She goes out to find him. She searches, and the watchmen find her. They beat her, they wound her, they take away her veil. She says to the daughters of Jerusalem, if you find my beloved, tell him I am sick with love. They say, what is your beloved more than any other beloved that you charge us thus? And she describes him, the most lavish, detailed, loving description in the entire poem. This passage has a dreamlike quality, and I think Jung would read it as one would read a dream. The beloved who was there and then was gone, the search through the night city, the violence of the watchmen, the guardians of the conventional order perhaps, who always punish those who seek their desire too openly, the being wounded, and then from within the wound, the most passionate declaration of love. I am sick with love. And then, let me tell you who he is. The love does not diminish because it has been thwarted. It deepens, it becomes more articulate. What the person who searches comes to know in the searching is not just the beloved, it is the love itself. Jung saw the Song of Songs as a text that dared to say something that organized religion often hedged, that the body is sacred, that desire, rightly held, is not the enemy of the spiritual life, but one of its most powerful expressions, that the love between a man and a woman, specific, physical, burning, is not merely a metaphor for something higher. It is itself a participation in the deepest patterns of reality. This is what is meant by the hieros gamos, not a sanitized union, not love from a distance, the full embodied, mutual, risky encounter of two separate beings, each bringing what they are. He wrote in various places about the way the erotic and the spiritual have been split in Western culture, the body assigned to one realm, the soul to another. And he saw this split as a wound. What the Song of Song refuses, what it refuses on every page, with every image of vineyards and lilies and pomegranates and the beloved's hand against the wall, is the idea that this split is natural or healthy or necessary. The beloved is radiant and ruddy. His left hand is under my head. This is scripture. The last verse of the song is, "Make haste, my beloved, and be like a gazelle or a young stag on the mountains of spices." The poem ends not with union, but with longing, not with arrival, but with the call to come. And perhaps this is right. The sacred marriage, in Jung's understanding, is not a final destination. It is a recurring encounter, something that must be chosen again and again in each person's life, between the conscious and the unconscious, between what we know of ourselves and what waits to be discovered. The deer is always running towards the mountain, and the voice is always calling.